Hey there, crew. Brandon here. Today I want to talk real briefly about Fan Favorite, a masks zine that's currently under Kickstarter. We're talking like 3 days left at this point, so if you're interested, get on it right away. It's a really cool publication, and I'm really excited to have the chance to talk about it. I'm already a backer. I backed it a little while ago, and I intended to have a video up sooner than now, but things just didn't quite line up, so this is coming in later than I'd hoped. I believe that it will be available in some kind of an on-demand location afterwards. I'm not 100% sure what that is. I'm going to make sure that if it isn't in the show notes right now, it's in the show notes as soon as I have that information, and I'll definitely be tweeting about it. The zine is chock full of really cool stuff. I'm really impressed by it. It's got some really fun things in it, and I love that it has a lot of stuff that it would slot in nicely to an existing campaign, and it also has stuff that allows you to really build your own. In the same way that Unbound expanded your options by having new playsets, I think this fanzine does the same thing. Also, importantly, because we all know that's what we're here for, it has new playbooks. So, you're going to want to take a look at both of those. They're both really cool. The fan favorite is coming out of the Masks Discord, which I'll link below. It's run by Linda Codega, who's one of the people that runs the Discord, and is just a really wonderful person that I've had a lot of really positive interactions with ever since I started getting involved there. The Discord as a whole is also just full of discussion and conversation. They hit all kinds of different discussions about rules and ways that things fit together. I really recommend checking it out. I don't want to talk about everything in the supplement because I want you to get a chance to see it yourself, but I do want to talk about two things, because I think they're both really, really exciting. One of them is one of the playbooks, and the other is described as a supplement. In my mind, I'd kind of describe it as a playset. It's kind of in that same space as the Unbound playsets. Honestly, it has a nice amount of material to it. I totally get supplement. And it is a fundamentally different way to play the game, which is something I'm a big fan of. Merit Scholars is one of the supplement playset module pieces in it. It's by Kit Latouche. I hope I pronounced that name right. If not, I'm sorry about that, and I'll make sure that I've linked to a better pronunciation. My default with pronouncing names tends to be going for the Spanish pronunciation, and I'm like 99% sure that that would be wrong, so I did my best. Merit Scholars zooms in on something that was introduced in the Halcyon City Herald collection, which is the Mystic Research and Investigation Team. This group essentially is your spooky supernatural hero group, right? Like, it's looking more at supernatural things. I see amazing opportunities to tell some Blade stories or some magic stories and really get to have just, X-Men meet Dracula and have a lot of fun with that. But Merit Scholars takes you a step deeper. It really makes sure that you're focusing which playbooks you're using and how you're using those playbooks to start telling a story that is different. It's important when you're setting up a game to look at how the different playbooks will affect the setting, and I think the kid has done a really good job of doing so. I personally would probably cut The Outsider at my table just because the explanation of how they might fit in does suggest a little bit of weakness with that playbook. Just that playbook isn't quite as good of a fit. That's kind of a whole other thing. That's at your table. But definitely having the advice of how it does fit in allows you to make it fit if you want it to. It has some really tight, cool things going on in it. It has a new backstory question that you get to answer and focus out and pull some more information for your team. It has a change to comfort and support that I think is really, really elegant to make a game feel more like a horror game. Let's be honest, horror is one of those things that's really hard to hit in RPGs in general, and Masks isn't exactly set up for it. But having even just a couple little changes can be really good. The agendas, principles, and moves are phenomenal, and I'd highly recommend them. I don't want to go into them too much because I don't want to spoil too much, but I am going to say one of the principles. I hope that Kit and the rest of the Fan Favorite Zine crew will forgive me for that. Okay, ready? Cover everything in crows and gargoyles. That's beautiful. That's so good. That brings you so quickly from the feeling of, bright, powerful supers doing amazing things in their brightly colored spandex, to this is Gotham, this is dark, this is a scary time, and there's no reason you can't slot this in for whatever you're doing. I'll be honest, I read this supplement, and I went, this right here is a Halloween edition. It's amazing. It's really cool, and it isn't as kitschy as a lot of other horror things are. Honestly, the biggest thing to make a playset work is having those agendas, principles, and moves be really functional. And I think all of these moves are really great. Even if you're not doing the full Merit Scholars playset, Just taking some of them for when you've got an especially spooky villain, maybe putting them in as villain moves, is an awesome idea, and I highly recommend it. The other piece of content from the fan favorite that I want to talk about is The Ascendant. The Ascendant is a playbook by Adam Alterberg, and it will fit nicely into pretty much any setting, I think. It doesn't have a lot of things that make it really outside of what most Masks games will be like, unless you're playing something dark and gritty, or you're playing something where superpowers aren't all that big. The Ascendant is all about being really, really good at what they are. That's so cool. I love this idea of this character that is that much larger than life, and in a way that isn't necessarily about their power being dangerous. The Doomed and the Nova are both really, really cool, but neither of them are really playbook that you'd expect for society to be looking at and going, oh, this is who we should follow. And frankly, I think The Ascendant is a little bit more like that. It is a playbook that is about having perfection and being really, really good. It's about people having expectations of you that are maybe unreasonable. And it's about having a disconnection from other people because you don't share the things that make them human to the same extent. Your powers are a little more simple, but they're big and they're powerful. They're kind of in human ideal sorts of spaces. I get an idea from this of Superman, in part because it also has a really cool setup for weakness and how that can be handled as you go through your playbook. It's really neat. The moves all really inform the idea of a character that stands shoulders above everybody else. That's the name of one of the moves. That was a clever thing. It isn't just about being a powerhouse. It's a playbook that has the feeling of someone who's really good at what they do that potentially has some distance from other people because of that. They're so good at being who they are that it's hard to be among anybody else. And that's really cool. They don't necessarily have a chip on their shoulder. They can be Superman, coming in and saving the day and being the best. And then they have to deal with the fact that maybe their friends weren't fully on board with it. It's a playbook that is really cool in that it plays with influence in interesting ways, giving you lots of opportunities to take it from other people and give it to other people, but it also doesn't change the core mechanics of influence, so it isn't one that requires a ton of system mastery like the Nomad does. I'm going to share just one move because I like it a lot. It was actually super hard for me to choose which one I wanted to talk about, but the fact that this one is so simple and so elegant and would work really, really well makes me want to name it. Also, it's one of those beautiful moves that any playbook or any character could pull from for their pick a move from a different playbook, and it would still really, really sing. The move is called Let's Talk About Me, and the text goes, "You may give anyone influence in exchange for their honest opinion about you." The setup of the trigger versus the response is a little bit unorthodox, and that's actually something I really like, because I think the way that it could work at the table is both in an in-character way, with your character straight up saying, hey, what do you think? I need to know what you think. Or out of character, your player saying, this would be a really good chance to hit this move. It gets feelings out in the open, which is honestly where Powered by the Apocalypse games sing best. So I really recommend grabbing it and getting it to your table. So, just to wrap things up, you should check out the Fan Favorite. It's a cool zine. You should check out the Masks Discord. It's a cool place. And I think we're going to be seeing more stuff coming out of there. There's talk and rumbling about a Fan Favorite Zine 2. I don't know if Linda intends to do it or if somebody else will pick it up. I am hoping to get one of my own works in there when it hits that point. But for now, I'm happy to be a backer and to be able to hype it a little bit. I hope that you go out and grab it. There's a lot of other really cool stuff, and if you use it in your game, I'd love to know, as I'm sure the authors would also. All of the relevant links that I'm able to find will be down in the description, so check those out. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more Masks information, be sure to give me a like and a follow. You can also find me at Dr. Captain Cobalt on Twitter or at BrendanLeon-Gambetta.com. These videos are supported by my incredible patrons, including Jesse Ross, Matthew Marquez, Nora Blake, Michael Bowman, Kevin Lovecraft, and Tyler Boyce. If you'd also like to show your support, join me at patreon.com/BLeonGambetta. The link's in the show notes. Good news for Masks fans this week. I'm still going to be doing a Monday Masks. I just wanted to get this one out before it was, like, literally the last day of the Kickstarter. So really jump on this. The Fan Favorite is really cool, and I think it'll be really fun to have at your table. Check it out. But that's all I've got for today. So Until next time, keep fighting for good in a world that hates and fears you. Catch you later, folks.